I don't think you can out-design a neighborhood. I will say, no matter how good a house looks, if the area isn't good, it's going to be harder to sell.
How do you design these things to make sure that they're still good for the neighborhood and not just a piece of art? Like, because they still need to sell, right? Like,
yeah.
And you can over design things for certain neighborhoods and areas and things like that. How do you make sure that your design is still a good fit? Like, how are you still so confident with sell?
Yeah, so I think for me, as long as the design can fit in the numbers, which you can do a lot with paint, you can get cheap wallpaper, you can find light fixtures that work. I don't think you can out-design a neighborhood. I will say, no matter how good a house looks, if the area isn't good, it's going to be harder to sell. Right. So that's what I've learned. Like, I do try to stick to Richmond and Henrico now versus before I would go further out, and I'm a little bit more selective there. But yeah, and the other thing is, I always, like, in creating these houses, I'm not creating a house for everyone. I know everyone who invests is like, I want as many people as possible. I know only one person can buy it, so I literally want that person to be a raving fan, which is what some of these people are. I do think sometimes it takes a little bit longer to find that person, though.
Yeah.
So as long as the price makes up for that, it makes sense. But I know that not everyone wants to be on the market 30 days.
You know, that does make a lot of sense now that you say it. Is like, you can design something wildly unique, and maybe 3 people are super. I mean, I think, like, it looks awesome, but you're talking about, like, buyers, like the actual buyers. Yeah. But it doesn't appeal to the mass market, but there's going to be a fraction of people that it really appeals to, and they're going to want to pay a lot of money for that because they will never find that anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that you hold all these comp records because people are never going to find a house like that unless they do it themselves, and then they would need to hire you to design it for that creativity.
Correct, yeah.
That's awesome. I have a buddy that flipped a house on the north side, and he learned the same lesson where, like, he was flipping a house. He has a very high-end residential GC company, and they do like $1,000 kitchens and, you know,
oh my
stuff.
Gosh.
Yeah, so that's when I say high-end, it's like insanely high-end. And so,
wow.
But so he flipped a house, and he used his same GC team to flip the house, and he was just like, they put just incredible things all throughout the house, and it was like a little Foursquare on like one of those north side streets. And then he went to list it, and of course, like, it was probably like $150,000 overpriced. Nice. But fortunately, that was like right before COVID, and the market like rode up, and he rented it out at a good rent, and then was able to sell it for a higher price than he originally listed for because of the market appreciation. But it was like one of those where you can't just not out-design, but outbuild, you know, a street's value.
So when I run comps, I always price myself at the highest. I will say I'm starting to not do that as much because I think the market's shifting a little bit. And if I have a really good product and I price it at a more average price, maybe I will get up multiple offers. That's my new strategy. I know everyone's been doing that for a while, but I used to just always price at the very highest. But I've never... I try not to go too crazy with how far. Like, I won't make up like, oh, I could sell it for $100K more.
Right.
There are some areas I think you could do that. I really want to get into the millions because I believe that it absolutely can work in that way.